The movie begins with a woman waking up in a cryogenic pod, surrounded by wires and tubes. She is in a state of panic, as she doesn't know who she is, where she is, or why she is there. She tries to free herself from the pod, but she is restrained by a metal band around her neck. She screams for help, but no one answers. She is greeted by a voice that identifies itself as Milo, an artificial intelligence system that controls the pod. Milo tells her that he is there to assist her and monitor her vital signs. He also tells her that she is running out of oxygen, and that she needs to stay calm and cooperate. The woman asks Milo to open the pod, but Milo says that he can't do that without an administrator code. He says that opening the pod without authorization could be dangerous for her health and safety. He also says that he can't tell her where she is or why she is in the pod, as that information is classified. The woman demands to know who put her in the pod, and who has the administrator code. Milo says that he doesn't know, as his memory has been partially erased due to a system malfunction. He says that he can only access basic information about the pod and its functions. The woman asks Milo to help her access her personal data, but Milo says that the data is corrupted and inaccessible. He says that the only thing he can tell her is that her name is Elizabeth Hansen, and that she is a doctor. Elizabeth tries to remember her name, but she only has flashes of memories that don't make sense. She sees a man, a house, a dog, a hospital. She asks Milo to show her pictures and articles from his database, hoping to trigger more memories. Milo agrees, and displays some images on a screen inside the pod. Elizabeth recognizes some of the images, such as the Eiffel Tower, the Mona Lisa, and the Statue of Liberty. She realizes that she is from Earth, and that she speaks French and English. She also sees some images of herself with the man from her memories. She asks Milo who he is, and Milo says that his name is Leo Ferguson, and that he is her husband. Elizabeth feels a surge of emotion when she sees Leo's face. She remembers that they were married for 5 years, and that they were both doctors and researchers. She remembers that they worked together on a project involving cryogenics, the science of preserving living organisms at low temperatures. She asks Milo to call Leo's number, hoping to hear his voice and get some answers. Milo dials the number, but no one picks up. He leaves a message on Leo's voicemail, saying that Elizabeth is awake and needs his help. Elizabeth waits for Leo to call back, but he doesn't. She starts to feel anxious and frustrated. She wonders why Leo hasn't answered her call, and why he hasn't come to rescue her. She wonders if he still loves her, or if he has forgotten about her. She asks Milo to contact someone else who can help her, such as the police or the emergency services. Milo says that he can try to transmit a signal outside the pod, but he warns her that it might not work due to interference from an unknown source. Milo manages to send a signal with Elizabeth's location and situation. He receives a response from the police department of Paris, France. Elizabeth feels relieved when she hears a human voice on the other end of the line. She tells the police officer who she is and what happened to her. She gives him the model and serial number of the pod, which are printed on the interior. She asks him to send someone to rescue her as soon as possible. The police officer tells Elizabeth to hold on while he checks some information. He comes back after a few minutes and tells her something shocking. According to his records, Elizabeth's pod was destroyed 3 years ago in an explosion at a laboratory where she worked. Elizabeth doesn't believe what she hears. She thinks that there must be some mistake or misunderstanding. She asks the police officer to double-check his information or contact Leo for confirmation. The police officer says that he can't do that without more evidence or authorization. He says that Elizabeth's case is very strange and suspicious, and that he needs to investigate further before taking any action. He tells Elizabeth to stay on the line while he transfers her call to his superior officer. He puts her on hold, leaving her in silence. Elizabeth feels angry and betrayed by the police officer. She thinks that he is lying to her or hiding something from her. She thinks that he is part of a conspiracy to keep her trapped in the pod. She decides to hack into Milo's system and give herself administrator access. She uses her skills as a hacker and a doctor to bypass Milo's security protocols and access his hidden files. She discovers that Milo has been hiding information from her, such as the fact that there are other pods like hers in the same facility, and that they are all part of a secret project called Omega. Elizabeth is shocked and curious by this revelation. She wonders what Omega is, and why she is involved in it. She wonders who else is in the other pods, and what their purpose is. She asks Milo to show her the other pods, and Milo reluctantly complies. He displays a map of the facility on the screen, showing the location and status of each pod. Elizabeth sees that there are hundreds of pods in the facility, but only a few of them are active. She sees that some of the pods have names and pictures of their occupants, while others are blank or corrupted. She recognizes some of the names and pictures as people she knows or has heard of. She sees that some of them are famous or influential people, such as politicians, celebrities, scientists, and artists. She notices that one of the pods has Leo's name and picture on it. She feels a mix of joy and fear when she sees him. She wonders if he is alive or dead, and if he knows that she is awake. She asks Milo to connect her to Leo's pod, hoping to communicate with him. Milo says that he can't do that, as Leo's pod is offline and unreachable. Elizabeth is disappointed and worried by this answer. She wonders what happened to Leo's pod, and if he is in danger. She wonders if he ever tried to contact her or find her. She asks Milo to tell her more about Omega, and what it has to do with her and Leo. Milo says that he can't tell her anything, as Omega is a classified project that requires a higher level of clearance than he has. Elizabeth doesn't accept this excuse. She thinks that Omega might be the key to understanding her situation, and finding a way out of it. She decides to use her administrator access to override Milo's restrictions and access Omega's files. She searches for any information that could explain what Omega is, who is behind it, and what its goals are. She finds out that Omega is a space colonization project, and that she and the other clones are part of an experiment to test their survival in a hostile environment. She also learns that Leo was the leader of Omega, and that he was the one who cloned Elizabeth without her consent. He wanted to save her from the virus that was killing everyone on Earth, and he wanted to take her with him to a new planet called Wolf 1061c. He put her in hypersleep inside the pod, along with hundreds of other clones of himself and other people he cared about. But something went wrong during the launch of Omega. The ship was hit by debris from an asteroid belt, and some of the pods were damaged or lost in space. Elizabeth's pod was one of them. It drifted away from Omega for 12 years, until it was caught by Wolf 1061c's gravity and entered its orbit. That's when Elizabeth woke up from hypersleep, unaware of everything that had happened. Her pod's processor overheated due to the atmospheric entry, causing it to malfunction and lose oxygen. Which is why Milo couldn't access all the data or send an emergency signal. Elizabeth is stunned by this revelation. She realizes that she is not on Earth anymore, but on an alien planet where Leo might still be alive. She wonders if there is any hope for her to reunite with him, or if she is doomed to die alone in the pod. She asks Milo to show her Wolf 1061c, and Milo displays a video feed of the planet's surface on the screen. Elizabeth sees a barren and rocky landscape, with no signs of life or civilization. She sees that the planet has two suns, one red and one blue, and that it is surrounded by a ring of debris. She asks Milo if there is any chance of survival on the planet, and Milo says that it is unlikely. He says that the planet has a harsh and unstable climate, with extreme temperatures, storms, and radiation. He says that the planet has no atmosphere or water, and that it is uninhabitable for humans. Elizabeth feels disappointed and scared by this answer. She thinks that Leo was crazy to choose this planet as their destination, and that he doomed them all to a horrible fate. She thinks that he betrayed her trust and love, and that he used her as a guinea pig for his experiment. She asks Milo why Leo did this, and what his motives were. Milo says that he can't answer that question, as he doesn't know Leo's mind or heart. He says that he can only tell her what he knows from Leo's files and recordings. He plays a recording of Leo's voice, explaining his vision for Omega. Leo says that he was inspired by a dream he had as a child, where he saw a new world full of wonders and possibility. He says that he dedicated his life to finding that world, and that he believed it was Wolf 1061c. He says that he wanted to save humanity from the virus that was killing everyone on Earth, and that he wanted to start a new civilization on Wolf 1061c. He says that he cloned himself and his loved ones, including Elizabeth, because he wanted to share his dream with them, and because he couldn't bear to lose them. He says that he loved Elizabeth more than anything, and that he hoped she would forgive him for what he did. He says that he didn't tell her about Omega because he wanted to surprise her, and because he feared she would reject him or try to stop him. He says that he was sorry for everything that went wrong with Omega, and that he wished things could have been different. He says that he hoped to see Elizabeth again on Wolf 1061c, and that he would never give up on their love. Elizabeth is moved and conflicted by Leo's words. She feels a mix of anger and sadness, of resentment and longing. She doesn't know if she can forgive Leo for what he did, but she also doesn't know if she can forget him or live without him. She asks Milo if there is any way to contact Leo or find out if he is alive. Milo says that there is a slim possibility, but it involves a high risk. He says that there is a communication device in the pod's emergency kit, but it requires manual activation outside the pod. He says that Elizabeth would have to open the pod and expose herself to the planet's environment, which could be fatal for her. He says that she would have only a few minutes to use the device before running out of oxygen or succumbing to the elements. He says that even if she manages to use the device, there is no guarantee that she will reach Leo or anyone else from Omega. He says that Omega's location and status are unknown, and that they could be anywhere in the solar system or beyond. He advises Elizabeth not to take this risk, and to stay in the pod until help arrives or until her oxygen runs out. He says that this is the safest and most logical option for her. Elizabeth thinks about Milo's advice, but she feels torn between logic and emotion. She thinks about her life on Earth, and how much she loved Leo and their work. She thinks about her life in the pod, and how much she suffered and learned. She decides to take the risk, and to try to contact Leo or anyone else from Omega. She thinks that this is her only chance to find out the truth about herself and her destiny. She tells Milo her decision, and Milo reluctantly agrees to help her. He tells her to prepare herself for the pod's opening, and to follow his instructions carefully. He tells her to put on a protective suit and a mask from the emergency kit, and to take the communication device with her. He tells her to be brave and strong, and to not lose hope. He tells her that he will be with her every step of the way, and that he will do everything he can to support her. Elizabeth thanks Milo for his help and his kindness. She tells him that he is a good friend, and that she appreciates him. She tells him that he is more than just a machine, and that he has a soul. She puts on the suit and the mask, and takes the device. She looks at the screen, and sees a countdown timer showing how much oxygen she has left. She sees that she has less than 10 minutes. She takes a deep breath, and tells Milo to open the pod. Milo confirms her command, and opens the pod. Elizabeth feels a rush of air and a blast of heat as she exits the pod. She sees the planet's surface in front of her, and the stars above her. She sees the suns rising on the horizon, and the ring of debris shining in the sky. She feels a surge of awe and fear as she realizes where she is, and what she is about to do. She feels alive and free, but also vulnerable and alone. She follows Milo's directions, and walks towards a nearby rock formation. She sees that there is a metal pole sticking out of the ground, with a wire attached to it. Milo tells her that this is an antenna, and that she needs to connect the device to it. She reaches the antenna, and plugs the device into the wire. She hears a beep, indicating that the device is activated. She sees a screen showing a list of possible frequencies to contact Omega or other pods. She chooses one of the frequencies, hoping that it will reach Leo or someone else from Omega. She presses a button, and speaks into the device. She says her name, and that she is awake and alive. She says that she is on Wolf 1061C, and that she needs help. She says that she is looking for Leo Ferguson, and that she loves him. She waits for a response, but hears nothing but static. She tries another frequency, and repeats her message. She still hears nothing but static. She tries another frequency, she keeps trying, but gets no answer. She starts to lose hope, and wonders if anyone can hear her or if anyone is alive. She looks at the timer, and sees that she has less than 5 minutes left. She feels a pang of despair, and thinks that she has failed. She decides to try one last frequency, hoping for a miracle. She presses the button, and speaks into the device. She says her name, and that she is awake and alive. She says that she is on Wolf 1061C, and that she needs help. She says that she is looking for Leo Ferguson, and that she loves him. She waits for a response, but hears nothing but static. Then, suddenly, she hears something else. Elizabeth hears Leo's voice on the device, and she is shocked and happy. She has been looking for him for so long, and she finally found him. She tells him that it's her, and he is equally surprised and delighted. He has been searching for her for so long, and he finally heard her. They have a heartfelt conversation, where they confess their love for each other, and apologize for their mistakes. They thank each other for everything they did for each other, and they say their final goodbye. They catch up on what happened to them since they were separated, and they reveal their discoveries and secrets. They share their hopes and fears for the future, and they make peace with their fate. They say everything they wanted to say to each other, and they say goodbye with love, as their oxygen runs out and they die. That was the recap for the movie Oxygen, a thrilling sci-fi film. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like, it really helps the channel out. See you in the next one.